Hi friends. Online students, please confirm that you can see me and hear me all right. Yes, thank you. So please close your eyes for a bit. A quick recap, guys. Brother, raise your hand. Yes? Nahi, aap nahi? Yes? Tell me, what is historical materialism? It is the theory of Karl Marx. Wonderful, very wonderfully summed up. How society evolves from one type to another due to improvements in production technology. Wonderful. Why is Marx considered a materialist? Beti? Beti in a very animated conversation. Yes. Why is Marx termed a materialist? Absolutely. Wonderful. And brother, which scholar emphasizes on the primacy of ideas? Shri Hegel. ठीक है, great. What is, brother in black near the khamba? Brother, yes, raise your hand. Yes. What do you understand by dialectics? What is the dialectical method? Be a bit louder, please. Wonderful. Two opposing ideas combine to produce new ideas. Bilkul. Wonderful. What are the, brother, 3 laws of dialectics? The third is the law of negation of negation. ठीक है? बिल्कुल. You need to be only right, not in the correct sequence, possibly. Bitya, with the very broad smile. Yes, what are the other dialectical laws? Law of unity and conflict of opposites. And what is the second law? जी बेटे. याद नहीं. Brother? Your neighbor. Hanji. Law of passage from quantitative changes into qualitative change. Great. Or who were, brother in black, who were the young Hegelians? No, not you. You've spoken. Brother in black. ठीक है, ये भी सही है. One was Marx. मतलब what was their primary this thing contention? What did they do to Hegel? Okay, they put ideas at the first position, not. हाँ ठीक है. Wonderful. And were they also positively influenced by Hegel in any way? तो बता भी दो, ऐसे क्या छुपा रहे हो? What aspect of Hegelian philosophy did they adopt and not reject? Hegel's idealism they rejected. Bolo brother. Bete. Yes. The method of dialectics, but they applied it to the realm of material reality. Wonderful. फिर क्या पढ़ा हमने? What are the various historical epochs through which society passes? Brother? Yes. Primitive? Do better than that. Primitive? देख के बोला तो अच्छा. Primitive communism. And what is primitive communism like? Egalitarian society. Wonderful. Everybody is engaged in the process of production. और बताओ इसके बारे में. No conflict. It's a classless society. No notion of private property. Resources are owned communally. Wonderful. ठीक है. Which is the next stage, brother? Yes. Ancient slave society, which is what? Tell us about it. Haves and have nots emerge. क्या होते हैं ये haves और have nots? Wonderful. Those who don't are have nots. हाँ. और बताओ इस सोसाइटी के बारे में. How does the society change from primitive communist to ancient slave? Absolutely. Because of improvement in production technology, surplus starts getting generated, and then the society gets divided into two classes of haves and have nots. Wonderful. Who are the haves in ancient slave? खुद ही बता दो बिना पूछे सब. Tell me more about ancient slave society. कौन होते हैं haves in ancient slave society? उस क्लास को क्या बोलते हैं बेटे मेरे? Brother, what is the class of haves in masters, and have nots are slaves? Wonderful. Brother, in mask, tell me, which is the next stage? Yes? Feudal society, tell me about it. Brother? Man now starts using inanimate sources of energy. Sorry? हाँ ठीक है. The crafts also develop. Absolutely. Agriculture produce also increases. Sorry? The two main classes are feudal lords and serfs. Wonderful. Then which is the next stage, Bitya? Yes. Capitalist society, tell me about it. Sorry? Machinery based production. Wonderful. Two main classes. Feudal, factory owners and factory workers. ठीक है. Is this all we learnt about the capitalist mode? हाँ ठीक है. We'll come to that. Brother, what is the last stage? Communism. And tell me about it. He is saying society will go back to being an egalitarian society, while in Marxist theory we avoid saying going back to the previous or the first stage, because it's not a circular kind of a change that Marx envisages. It is linear, it is progressive. So the society will once again become egalitarian, or resources will be owned by the whole community, or there will be no class, it will be a classless society, or there will be no exploitation of man by fellow man. है ना? Wonderful. फिर brother, raise your hand. Yes. Tell me, what is the relationship between the haves and the have-nots in every epoch? It is a relationship of conflict and cooperation. Wonderful. It is not a relationship between equals. Elaborate on this relationship. Brother at the back. Last seat in front of me. Yes, yes. Tell me more about the relationship between haves and have-nots in every historical epoch. बताइए थोड़ा बहुत. Did you revise? Please revise, guys, for your own sake. Latecomers, tell me about the relationship between haves and have-nots. Cooperation and mutual dependence on the one hand, and on the other,
there was differentiation because the haves did have the upper hand on the have-nots.
differentiation नहीं होता है, inequality है. There is structured inequality, and their class interests are mutually incompatible. One class gains only at the expense of the other, right? So there is continuous conflict between the two main classes, sometimes overt, sometimes covert. ठीक है? So it is a relationship of antagonistic cooperation. This is what we have covered. Is that where we ended? अब चलते हैं फिर जीवन में आगे. I'm being asked a question. Please explain how, according to Marx, is it a linear progression and not circular? Simply, it is not circular because the last stage, which is communist society, is not the same as the first stage, which is of primitive communism. Both are egalitarian. In both are the resources communally owned. Yet they are substantially different from each other. How they are different, we will appreciate as we proceed. But they are clearly not the same stage. That is why it's not circular, it is linear progression. Is dialectical perspective in idealism and materialism applied in the same way? Broadly, yes. Hegel applies the method of dialectics to understand change in the realm of ideas. Marx applies the same method of dialectics to understand change in material reality. Okay? Explain the law of negation of negation. Wonderful. Every new stage is born out of the destruction of the previous stage, which continue. Why is it called negation of negation? Because the previous stage itself was an outcome of the destruction of the stage before it. Okay? Wonderful. What makes Marx predict communism will come? We will cross the bridge when we come to it. So as we proceed in our discussion, we won't wait for communism to come to discuss it. But as we proceed in our discussion, once we've discussed the nature of capitalist society, then according to Marx, certain things are happening in advanced capitalism which will lead to the advancement towards communism. We haven't reached that stage of discussion yet. We will. Chaliye, moving on. Moving to the next topic, which is kya hai? Mode of production. Forget Karl Marx for a while, forget sociology. Normal English words, mode of production. What do they seem to suggest? In English. Forget Marxism or sociology. What do these words mean to you in English? The type of machine we use for production. Not right. Huh? How production is being carried out in society. So how ways through which production is being, not specifically or only the inputs required, but it is rather how production is being carried out in society. Is that really how simple or basic it is? Yes. This is what really mode of production is. Meaning what? That how production of goods is being carried out in the society. Okay? Simply. Please write down. Mode of production refers to the way in which, or the manner in which, production and distribution, I repeat, mode of production refers to the manner in which the production and distribution of goods is carried out in the society. The way in which the production and distribution of goods is carried out in the society. Can you give me another more common English, simple English word for this thing, which is what? How production and distribution of goods is carried out in society? What is it called? The economy. Simply we are talking about the nature of the economy. That is what the mode of production is. Simply how economic activity is organized. What are the economic arrangements in the society? That is what is the mode of production. ठीक है? So there are different ways in which a society can organize economic activities. For example, the way economic activity is organized in a feudal society would be different from how production of goods etc. is carried out in a industrial capitalist society. Yes or no? These are what? Different modes of production, or simply different types of economy, different ways of carrying out production and distribution of goods. Clear? As we proceed in this topic, I will be exposing you to some Marxist jargon or terminologies. Okay? A lot of it actually. So in every mode of production, there are certain forces of production or productive forces. Every mode of production is characterized by certain forces of production or productive forces, using these two phrases interchangeably. ठीक? What are the forces of production या productive forces? These are the various inputs in the process of production, are referred to as the productive forces. I repeat, the various inputs in the process of production are referred to as productive forces या forces of production. ठीक है? For example, I want to manufacture shirts. I think by now we've developed some sort of an expertise in manufacturing shirts. So, what all will be the inputs that I will require to produce shirts? Tell me, or in other words, what are the productive forces? What all do I need to produce shirts? Sorry? हाथ खड़ा करके एक एक करके raw material or capital, I hear. Labor, land, है ना, machinery, technology, whatever, know-how, all of these are the productive forces or the inputs in the production process. ठीक है? Which is the main input in the production process in a feudal economy? It is land. Clearly, it is land. And in a capitalist economy, which is the main input in the production process? It is capital. Right? So you understand? In every mode of production, you will have various productive forces or various inputs in the production process. ठीक? Various inputs or all inputs in the production process except for labor power are referred to as the means of production. All inputs in the production process other than labor power are referred to as means of production. ठीक है? So what is the relationship between means of production and forces of production? Means of production is equal to the forces of production minus labor power. Yeah, forces of production equal to means of production plus labor power. ठीक? Nextly, friends, every क्या नाम है तुम्हारा mode of production is characterized by certain productive forces and certain relations of production. Every mode of production is characterized by a set of productive forces and certain relations of production. What do we mean by relations of production? Let us try to appreciate. I'll first explain, then I will dictate. दो line का ही है. So just hear me out. What do you mean by or understand by relations of production? Simply, friends, according to Marx, production of goods is necessarily a social enterprise. In other words, we can only produce collectively. So if we are manufacturing shirts in my factory, can one person do it? No, it will be a number of persons who will be engaged in the task of producing shirts. Somebody will stitch, somebody will Yeah? Put the button, somebody will. आप क्या करोगी मेरी फैक्ट्री में बेटा? Packing, somebody will. Ironing, somebody will dye, and so on and so forth. Now different persons are doing different aspects of the production process. There needs to be certain coordination between them. Yes or no? In other words, if a large number of people are engaged in the production enterprise, then they must enter into or establish certain relationships with each other. And these relationships which we establish to produce things are known as relations of production. Clear? लिख लो. According to Shri Marx, production is a social enterprise. Full stop. In order to undertake production, man must enter into relations with other men. Man must enter into relations with other men. Full stop. These social relationships that men enter into in order to produce are known as relations of production. ठीक? So, for example, in my factory, ठीक? What are the various relations of production that will be established or will have to be established? क्या आदमियों के बीच में ऐसे संबंध होंगे जो एस्टैब्लिश करना अनिवार्य है in order to produce shirts in a factory? So if we are in a factory producing shirts, we are in which mode of production? This is which mode of production we are talking? Capitalist mode. Factory industrial capitalism में ही तो होगी. And what are the various relations of production which will be established? बोलो ना, कौन से relations होंगे? The relationship between the industrialist, the factory owner, and the factory workers. The relationship between worker and fellow workers. The relationship between worker and supervisor. The relationship between supervisor and manager. The relationship between manager and owners. Yes or no? And so on and so forth. These are the social relationships that we will enter into in order to produce. Simple. ठीक? So these are different relations of production associated with the capitalist mode of production. कैपिटलिस्ट मोड में प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए क्या संबंधों की आवश्यकता है? इन सारे रिश्तों की आवश्यकता है. ठीक? क्लियर है? सिंपल है? So if I have to depict it diagrammatically, what will I do? Let us say this is the, क्या नाम है तुम्हारा? प्रोडक्शन नहीं, प्रोडक्शन नहीं, फोर्सेस ऑफ प्रोडक्शन. अरे भैया हो गया, वाह. These are the forces of production. This डब्बा, It comprises of two things. क्या? बोलो ना. Labor power and means of production. Means of production would include all the other inputs in the production process other than labor power, such as land, capital, raw material, technology, machinery, etc. Yes or no? So in every mode of production you have certain productive forces and relations of production. Characteristic of that mode. For example, in capitalist mode of production, you will have the worker-worker relationship, the worker-capitalist relationship, the worker-supervisor relationship, and so on. These are the different relations of production. Now this is what combinedly it is the one English simple word. क्या बोलोगे इंग्लिश में, सिंपल भाषा में? द इकोनॉमी. ठीक है? According to Marx, the economy constitutes the base of the society. Economy constitutes the base of the society. It is the foundation upon which the whole edifice of the society is built. जैसे एक बिल्डिंग का एक फाउंडेशन होता है जिसके ऊपर सारी बिल्डिंग खड़ी होती है, उसी तरह समाज की नींव है या उसकी जो फाउंडेशन है, दैट इज द इकोनॉमी. So Marx, in Marxist bhasha, we refer to it as the base, or also referred to as infrastructure. ठीक है? And upon this, may I be done with drawing this, then I'll continue. May I? So the economy constitutes the base of the society, right? Or the infrastructure, and upon it arises the what Marx terms as the superstructure or other aspects of society. Various other aspects, all other aspects of social life are shaped by or determined by, arising out of the nature of the economy or the economic base. Whether it is, say, family or religion or the political system or, say, mass media. You can write better than this. Or say, क्या नाम है तुम्हारा, the legal system. the ideology governing the society, or the education system, all other aspects of social life other than the economy constitute what Marx refers to as the superstructure. Family and religion and political system, the legal system, the education system, mass media, ideology, values, norms, everything is shaped by the kya? The economy, the nature of the economy. समाज के विभिन्न अंग other than the economy comprise the superstructure. ठीक है, लिख लो. According to Sri Marx, the economy is the base, in brackets, or infrastructure upon which all other social institutions arise. All other social institutions arise. Thus, all social, cultural, and political institutions, all social, political, and cultural institutions of the society, other than the economy, constitute the superstructure. If you want to write, you may, but it would be repetition. It's already there in the diagram that the superstructure comprises of family, religion, education, political system, legal system, blah blah. ठीक है? Now, what is the nature of the relationship between the base and the superstructure? Let us try to appreciate that. What is the nature of, heading de do, the relationship between the economic base and the superstructure? There are two aspects of this relationship between the base and the superstructure. The first aspect or dimension of it is that, and please write, the base, the economic base, shapes the superstructure. The economic base shapes the superstructure. Meaning what? That various elements of the superstructure, what kind of family system we have, will be determined by the needs of the economy. What kind of legal framework exists in a society is shaped by the needs of the economy. What kind of an education system exists is determined by the requirements of the economy. ठीक है? Various elements of the superstructure are determined and shaped by the requirements of the economy. And as a corollary, or one can infer from this that as the economy changes, so do the various elements of the superstructure. जैसे जैसे इकोनॉमी में बदलाव आएगा वैसे वैसे एलिमेंट्स ऑफ सुपरस्ट्रक्चर में बदलाव आएगा. For example, what is the kind of family system which exists in a feudal economy? Joint family system. Why? Why do we have a joint family system in a feudal economy? Because a joint family meets the needs of a feudal economy. A joint family system is suited to the requirements of a feudal economy. Feudal economy mein matlab people are engaged in agriculture, so you require more hands on the land to till the fields. So various sons of a man will stay with him, yes or no, and till the land with him. Are you with me? But as the economy changes from feudal agrarian to industrial capitalist economy, what happens to the family? It changes also from joint family type to nuclear family type. Why? Because a nuclear family is suited to the needs of the capitalist economy. Why is a nuclear family suited to the needs of a capitalist economy? Because it is a more mobile unit. You need to match people's jobs, people's skill sets with the requirements of a job. Jobs may take them in different places. They are no more tilling the land. Land is stationary, it doesn't go anywhere. But for jobs, industrial jobs, you require a mobile workforce. Right? So the man will move out with his dependent wife and children. ठीक? So the kind of family system we have is dependent on the needs of the economy. The kind of likewise education system we have is again dependent on the needs of the economy. What was the kind of education system in a feudal agrarian economy? So it was basically education was confined to some sections of the society. It was not yet a mass-based education system. Yes or no? And what was the nature of instruction? What was taught? Primarily religious instruction was imparted. Okay? Why? Because that fitted well with the requirements of a feudal agrarian economy. But as the economy changes to a industrial capitalist type, now an industrial capitalist economy requires an educated workforce, a skilled workforce. So that also saw this transition from feudal to capitalist economy, also saw education system transforming from, say, being confined to select few to the development of a mass-based education system, imparting scientific, skills-based knowledge. ठीक है? इसी तरह different elements of the superstructure are shaped by the needs of the economy. And we'll study. When we study religion, when we study political system, when we study education, when we study everything, we will discuss the Marxist perspective and discuss how different social arrangements or institutions are responding to the needs of the economy. ठीक है? Similarly, say, take another example, the laws would change. The legal system. In a feudal economy, are the privileges of the feudal lords legal or not? In a feudal economy or in a feudal era, are the privileges of the feudal lords legal? Very much, they are legal. They have the sanction of the law, they have the protection of the law. Yes or no? But when the economy changes from a feudal type to a capitalist type, then feudal privileges are disallowed, made illegal or abolished, like what happened with during the French Revolution. Or closer home, we abolished zamindari system. Yes or no? As our economy was transitioning from a feudal type to a industrial capitalist type, we or Indian state passed zamindari abolition acts, land ceiling acts, etc. Are you with me? So as the economy changes, so will various elements of the superstructure. The kind of family, religion, blah 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 we have is dependent on, shaped by, determined by the needs of the economy. ठीक है? May I continue? Or ठीक है. Secondly, let us now look at the second aspect of this relationship between the economic base and the superstructure. लिखिए, various elements of the superstructure legitimize the inequalities in the economic base. I repeat, various elements of the superstructure legitimize the inequalities in the economic base and help maintain may I delete this? And help maintain the status quo. Now, in any class society, in any of the historical epochs except for the first and the last one is yet to come. So throughout human history except for the period of primitive communism, society has been divided into two main classes, and there is gross inequality between the two. In fact, not just inequality, there is exploitation and oppression which is built into these class societies. Yes or no? The relationship between haves and have-nots we've already discussed at length are antagonistic, and the haves are in the nature of oppressors and exploiters of the have-nots. Now, because these societies are characterized by inequalities and the class interests of the two main classes are incompatible with each other, every historical epoch is inherently unstable. It is unstable. This conflict between the two main classes makes every mode of production inherently unstable. Clear? But there's always a but. B-U-T. In every mode of production, the various elements of the superstructure, they tend to have a stabilizing effect on the society. They somehow justify, legitimize and thereby help to perpetuate the prevailing inequalities in the economy. In the economy, there are inequalities, that much we agree. We understand, right? In every class society. Now, inequalities are per se or seemingly inherently unfair and unjust. But these social institutions like family or religion or law or mass media, all of them, they do what? They tend to give a veneer of respectability and greater acceptability to the inequalities prevalent in society. They somehow make these inequalities more bearable. These inequalities then seem to be fair. Are you with me? Or part of the natural order of things. These inequalities then seem to be justified. And once these inequalities are seen as justified by the people, then they would tend to not challenge them. Are you with me? You understand the meaning of the word status quo? Basically meaning that things remain as they are, they do not change. Right? It's used frequently in Marxist writings. So these social institutions, which are the elements of the superstructure, are status quoist, or help maintain the status quo. They stabilize the society. Even though the society is inherently unstable, because of the incessant inequalities and oppressions that are built into the system. But the superstructure tends to somewhat mitigate their effect of destabilizing, right? Thereby helping to stabilize the society. Are you somewhat with me or not? पूरे दिल से बोलो, आधे दिल से मत बोलो. ठीक है? For example, how do these various elements of the superstructure justify the existing inequalities in society? Let us say, now Marx was say highly critical of religion on this count. That religion tends to justify or legitimize inequalities and exploitation, and thereby making the system, this exploitative and oppressive system, more stable, helping to perpetuate it. So for example, if you are poor and I am rich, how does religion explain this? I am a rich sahukar, seth, capitalist, and you are a garib pista hua factory worker. What does your religion say about it? Your religion, presumably Hinduism? Basically it is a result of one's own karma. है ना? अंग्रेजों karma. Karma. So, if you are poor, if you are disprivileged, it is due to your foote karma. And if I am rich, I am privileged, it is due to my good past karma. Yes or no? In other words, privilege or disprivilege is justified. So rather than fighting against your oppression, you will take it a part of your, it's like your karmic destiny, right? Or a result of your own karma. कि जरूर मैंने पिछले जन्म में खूब बुरे कर्म किए होंगे जो आज मैं भुगत रहा हूं. Likewise, in almost all religions, you have these notions of heaven. Yes or no? What is heaven? कैसा होता है heaven? सोने के द्वार. Wonderful. और दूध और शहद की नदियां. Yes or no? It's the land of plenty. और अप्सराज and hoods, है ना? So basically, whatever you didn't get in this world, you will get in heaven. So basically, it gives you this hope of a beautiful afterlife. Are you with me? That makes your hellish life on this earth more bearable. और ये जो संसार है, ये जो दुनिया है, in which you are living and toiling, ये क्या है? ये सब तो मोह माया है. It's temporary, it's ephemeral, it's passing, transitory. Yes or no? So that sate with his riches, क्या है वो? वो तो मोह माया है. What is real dhan? Spiritual, intangible. Yes or no? That what I'll get in the afterlife. Are you with me? So you give more importance to that which is not before your eyes, rather than and downplay the importance of the material world around you. ये सब छोटी मोटी बातें हैं. और यहां मैं कितने अभी 70-80 साल तो हूं केवल. उसके बाद what's the real deal? It is heaven, जन्नत, स्वर्ग. Yes or no? So that is what I should be striving for. तो इस कैपिटलिस्ट को मार के क्या मैं अपने हाथ गंदे करूंगा? That too for this temporary माया? Yeah? Of course not. Are you with me? Then you have various dictats from religion which tell you what? आप चोरी क्यों नहीं करते अगर आप गरीब हो? Not because only it is against the law. चोरी करना पाप है. कौन किससे चोरी करेगा? जो have not है वो have से चोरी करेगा. Those who have do not have will steal from those who have. But then there is a religious indictment against theft as a sin. Yes or no? तो आप चोरी नहीं करोगे, आप अपनी गरीबी में मौज में रहोगे और हम अपनी अमीरी में मौज में रहेंगे. Yes or no? That is how religion has this pacifying effect on the working class. Instead of trying to change their own situation, their material conditions through collective action, they accept their disprivilege as their destiny, their religiously destined whatever. Yes or no? Similarly, education system. Now, what does the education system tell you? You know, education system, friends, it projects a certain myth in the society. What is the myth that it popularizes? That your income, what you earn, your career is a result of what? Your hard work. If you work hard enough, you will make it big in life. Education system gives an equal opportunity to all. Yes or no? Isn't that the myth which it projects? So if you don't make it big in life, whom will you blame? Say if you don't clear this exam, who is to be blamed? UPSC. Who is to be blamed? Oneself. So failure is individualized. The blame for failure is pinned on the individual by the individual himself. मेरी ही मेहनत में कोई कमी रह गई होगी कि मैंने एग्जाम क्लियर नहीं किया. Are you with me? But studies after studies after studies have established that how much you earn in life, what is your income, what is your career graph as an adult, is profoundly affected by your socio-economic background. In simple terms, people from wealthier backgrounds have it far easier to earn good amounts of money, while those from humble backgrounds most people from humble backgrounds would find it an enormous challenge to make similar amounts of money. So what kind of money you are born in greatly affects the kind of money you will end up making in reality. But the education system hides this fact. Yes or no? So tomorrow, when you remain working class, when you remain or you earn lesser than the next guy, whom do you blame? Yourself, rather than this exploitative system. Media also projects this myth. Yes or no? They will share with you stories. Ki Shah Rukh Khan used to sleep on platforms. Are you with me? That he came from a very humble and struggling kind of a background and made it big in life. Then you look inside ki why can't I? कुछ तो मुझ में ही कमी होगी. If that guy coming from such a humble background can. Or movies will tell you what? कि अब जरूरी नहीं है कि राजा का बेटा ही राजा बनेगा, है ना? Anybody, street urchins or whoever, boot polish, whatever wala boys can become, make it into the IITs and make it big in life. Are you with me? So these are the kind of stories, propaganda, myth that various elements of the superstructure, be it the education system, be it mass media, generate and popularize. So that people do not question the exploitative system. Are you with me? Lot of stories, of individuals. Abdul Kalam came from very humble backgrounds, education, became the president of India. $50 करोड़ में से एक ऐसा किस्सा होगा, उसको इतना एम्पलीफाई करेंगे, आप कहोगे यार मुझ में ही कुछ कमी होगी. ठीक है? But then you don't challenge the system of inequalities which is prevalent. That is how various elements of the superstructure justify, legitimize, make it seem more fair. धीरू भाई अंबानी कहां से आया था? Kind of romanticized in that movie, क्या नाम है, गुरु. Humble origins, सबके humble origins होते हैं somehow. Very humble origins, petrol pump attendant and then became a पेट्रोलियम रिफाइनरी का मालिक. तो अगर मैं नहीं कर पा रहा, किसकी कमी है? मेरी कुछ कमी होगी. राइट? So the system is thereby stabilized, preventing people from challenging the status quo, pinning failure on the individual. ठीक है? So that is the nature of the relationship between the base and the superstructure. What kind of superstructure we have is shaped by the base, and the superstructure at any point of time or in any mode of production will tend to have a stabilizing effect on the economy. The inherent contradictions, the क्या नाम है तुम्हारा, the inequalities in the economy will be somehow justified, glossed over, and thereby helping in their perpetuation. ठीक? What are the different modes of production? Such as the capitalist mode of production, the feudal mode of production, the ancient slave mode of production. So the various historical epochs also correspond to the different modes of production. Are you with me? यही जो हिस्टोरिकल एपॉक्स हैं, यही मोड्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन है. गंगाधर ही शक्तिमान है. ठीक है. नाउ Karl Marx particularly focused his attention on explaining in great detail a particular mode of production, which was the capitalist mode of production. Kyun? Why at the expense of others, or why was he particularly taken in? Absolutely. So Marx, the time period he was living in the period of industrial capitalism, right? In fact, this whole theory or framework of historical materialism is to arrive at an understanding of the capitalist mode of production, how this mode of production has come into existence, what are its features. He was particularly keenly interested in highlighting the various exploitative aspects of the capitalist economy. He was very taken in by the conditions of the working class in the capitalist economy, or which was the times in which he was living. He was writing in the immediate aftermath of the Industrial Revolution, one of the early sociologists, and we've covered all that. So was acutely aware of the various problems accompanying the rise of industrial capitalism, right? So in his book, Das Capital, जो कैपिटल का दास, वो दास कैपिटल नहीं, ये मतलब नहीं है इसका, ठीक है, बट हिज बुक इज नेम्ड दास कैपिटल. ही analyzes the capitalist economy in great detail, analyzes and critiques. So let us also discuss the various aspects of the capitalist mode of production. Friends, let us now try to appreciate the nature of the capitalist society, okay, which is as follows. Firstly, friends, this name, this nomenclature, capitalist society, what is the root word? Capital. What is capital? Normal English or accounts and commerce, what is capital? Yeah? Money. One word that seems to have come is money. So tell me, is all money capital? क्या सारा पैसा पूंजी कहलाता है? The answer is no. All money is not capital. Which money is capital? Raise your hands and speak. Brother? Absolutely correct. So that money which is invested in a business enterprise with the objective of, why do you invest that money? What is the end goal? Of earning a profit. That is capital. है ना? So लिख लो पहला फीचर, that the principal input in the production process is capital. ठीक है. Second, there are how many classes? Two main classes. Namely, क्या? Factory owners and factory workers. Factory owners are also referred to as the capitalist class. Factory workers are also referred to as the industrial working class. Simple. Factory owners are also referred to as bourgeoisie. Factory workers are also referred to as proletariat. So what do you understand by the term bourgeoisie? It's simply a fancier term for the class of factory owners or capitalists. है ना? Likewise, proletariat is simply a Marxist term to refer to the industrial working class. ठीक है? So there are two main classes. And what is the nature of relationship between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat? It is a relationship of antagonistic cooperation. We've already discussed that. There is both cooperation as well as conflict. There is mutual dependence, but it is not an equal interdependence. है ना? It is eventually, or in its true nature, it is a relationship between the oppressor and the oppressed, the ruling class and the ruled class, the exploiter and the exploited, the dominant class and the dominated class. है ना? All of that we have covered. Thirdly, the means of production. The means of production are under the private ownership of the bourgeoisie. All the means of production are in the private ownership of the capitalist class. Who owns all the factories? The lands, capital, raw material, technology, machinery. Who owns it? The capitalist class. What do the workers own? Their own labor. Right? That is all they own. The process of exchange in capitalist society. Next point, the process of exchange in capitalist society can be represented as M to C to M dash. Where M stands for money, C stands for commodity. In other words, a person invests money in a business to produce and sell a commodity in order to make money. Yes or no? And what is the relationship between M and M dash? M dash is greater than M. In other words, one invests a certain amount in a business to produce and sell certain things so that he ends up with more money than he began with. That is the whole rationale or logic of capitalism. Like I was manufacturing shirts. Why am I doing that? So that I end up with more money than what I began with. ठीक? Nextly, all decisions. Next aspect of the capitalist system. Now, all the production, the whole of production is for what purpose? What is the purpose? Why do I produce? What will I do with the produce? I am manufacturing 100 shirts a day. What do I do with that production? So it is meant for sale in the market. Please appreciate, in a capitalist economy, market is the principal medium of exchange. It is the principal medium of exchange. Kya? Market. All the output, all the production is meant for sale in the market. Which is unlike, say, the previous systems, including feudalism. When under feudalism I was growing something, say crop, at least a part of it used to be for what? Self-consumption. तो मैं और मेरा परिवार उसको खाते थे जो हम उगाते थे. Yes or no? But in a capitalist economy, almost the entire production is meant for sale in the market. ठीक? Whether I am manufacturing cars or shoes or shirts or whatever, it is all meant for sale in the market, not for self-consumption. What about the inputs in the production process? For example, I require raw material, I require buttons, I require threads to produce these shirts. Where do I procure them from? From the market. What about labor power? I again procure labor power from the labor market. Labor market होती है ना? What about capital? I need capital to run my factory. That capital, how do I raise it? From capital markets. So market is the principal medium, friends. All production, all inputs, all production is sold in the market, all inputs are procured from the market. So it is a market-based economy. It is a market-based economy. Now, how are we able to procure these very diverse things from the market? what enables us to procure things as diverse as, whatever? That everything is assigned a monetary value. Please appreciate. In the market, a monetary value is assigned to each and everything in a capitalist society. I said a monetary value is assigned to everything in a capitalist society. Yes or no? For example, this goli, okay, it's like a Vicks. What is the monetary value? 1 rupee. What is the monetary value of this pen? 10 rupees. What is the monetary value of this device, mobile phone? 10,000, say. What is the monetary value of a shirt? What is the monetary value of this podium? Does it have a monetary value? You bet it does. 5,000, say, hypothetically. What is the monetary value of this screen? More than that, substantially. What is the monetary value of... So everything, yes or no? This tube light, anything that you see around you has a monetary value. From a pin to an aeroplane. Everything is assigned a monetary value and is available for sale. Where? In the market. Even seeming intangibles. Say, the soulful rendition of a ghazal by a Jagjit Singh. Is there a monetary value assigned to that? Kya? So 50 rupees prati CD. Or 2,500 rupees per concert. Yes or no? Knowledge. 49,000 rupees per optional. Everything has a monetary value assigned to it in this market-based economy. सब कुछ बिकता है. Thank you for the agreement. है ना? Such is the nature of a capitalist society. Nextly, all decisions pertaining to the production process are taken by who? The workers. Who? By the bourgeoisie, the capitalist class. So if I am manufacturing shirts, it's my factory. Who decides how many shirts are to be produced in a day? Who decides which color shirts are to be produced? Who decides what technique of production is to be used? What kind of clothes or thread या क्या बोलते हैं उसको कपड़ा cloth is to be used? Whether I manufacture cotton shirts or silk shirts or whatever. Who decides? The capitalist. But does he really? Or let me ask you, does he do so as per his whims and fancy? क्या मेरा मन आए कि मैं तो रणवीर सिंह वाली शर्ट्स बना के बेचूंगा, तो क्या मैं बेचूंगा? What determines my decision as a, क्या नाम है मेरा, bourgeois? Absolutely. So it is decided by the bourgeoisie class in sync with the demands of the market. The market forces of demand and supply will determine the decision making by the bourgeois. Yes or no? I repeat, all aspects of production are decided upon by the bourgeoisie in response to the market forces of demand and supply. So if white shirts are more in demand, what will I produce? White shirts. I will not produce pink shirts. Yes or no? I'll produce only few pink shirts and possibly charge a premium for that. Are you with me? Agla point. Labor is formally free in capitalist society. Labor is formally free in capitalist society. So can a worker, say in the Maruti factory, can he quit that job and join, say he's getting a higher pay in Hyundai Motors or Honda? Can he join that? Is he free to do so? Absolutely. Yes or no? Unlike, say, the feudal or the slavery systems. In slavery, the have-nots, the slaves, were not free. They were the property of the masters. They were owned by the masters. Even in the feudal system, the serfs were not the property of the lords, but serfs were tied to parcels of land. Okay? So there were restrictions there also. But in a capitalist economy, if today you are working for a TCS and you get a better package in a Wipro or an Infosys or whatever, you are free to take it up. Yes or no? Then why do we say he is formally free? क्यों? मेरी मर्जी? Can't I not sell? Why must I sell? Absolutely, and it is imperative that I earn. Absolutely, she is absolutely right. Why we say formally free? Because, the labor is only nominally free or seemingly free. At the end of the day, he is compelled to sell his labor power to this or that capitalist. चाहे मारुति में काम करूं, होंडा में करूं या ह्यूंडई में करूं, कहीं ना कहीं तो मुझे चाकरी करनी पड़ेगी. क्यों? My very survival depends on it. I don't have accumulated capital. Yes or no? So in order to, I must earn a livelihood for which I have to sell my labor power to this or that member of the capitalist class. ठीक है? लिखो. Members of the working class sell their labor power in the labor market. I repeat, members of the working class sell their labor power in the labor market. In return for, क्या मिलता है हमें? Wages. In return for wages. ठीक? Have you seen the labor market? It's physically there in Indian cities. एक labor चौक होता है जहां से आप लेबर पकड़ के लाते हो. Yes or no? 2 लेबर पकड़ के लिया, घर में काम कराना है कुछ. लिंक्डइन पे भी है लेबर चौक. अच्छा, लेबर लिंक्डइन इज अ काइंड ऑफ लेबर चौक. वाओ, दैट्स अ नाइस एनालॉजी आई डिडंट थिंक ऑफ. LinkedIn as a labor chalk. Wow. Yeah. Some Indian guy will come up with this, website called laborchalk.com. ठीक है. Next point. What is the driving force of all economic activity in a capitalist economy? It is profit motive. The driving force of all economic activity in capitalist society is profit. Now we need to really try to understand what is this profit as per Marx. एक सेंटेंस लिखिए, profit, and then I'll explain it. Profit is the surplus value of labor which is appropriated by the capitalist. I repeat, profit is the surplus value of labor which is appropriated by the capitalist. Meaning what? आइए आपको अपनी फैक्ट्री में ले चलता हूं. So let us produce shirts. Okay, what all inputs we require? Threads. Worth how much? Give me a monetary value. कितने रुपए के थ्रेड चाहिए एक शर्ट बनाने के लिए? हाँ, 10 रुपीज. ठीक है. और क्या चाहिए? लेबर चाहिए. हाँ, से वेजेस आई विल पे टू द लेबर. कितना? थोड़ा 200 रुपए का हम लेबर को दे रहे हैं. और क्या चाहिए? लैंड चाहिए. लैंड और बहुत सारे ऐसे मशीनरी वगैरह के ओवरहेड्स कैलकुलेट कर लो पर शर्ट से. कितना? 50 रुपया. ठीक है. और क्लॉथ चाहिएगा. कितने का? 150 रुपए का. ठीक लग रहा है. 150 रुपए का कपड़ा लिया, शर्ट बनवा ली. बिल्कुल. और हाँ, मशीन वगैरह सब ओवरहेड्स में आ गया. और इनपुट्स बोलो. डाई चाहिए. कितने रुपए की? 20 रुपए की. और हाँ, टैक्स वैक्स छोड़ो ना, ओनली कॉम्प्लिकेट दी मैटर्स. और क्या नाम है तुम्हारा? हाँ, बटन मेरे बटन कितने के लगेंगे? सॉरी, 5 रुपए के. सस्ते लोग हो सब. टोटल वैल्यू कितना हुआ इसका? जस्ट कैलकुलेट. व्हाट इज द टोटल कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन ऑफ अ शर्ट? 435. वेरी डिफिकल्ट. सो 1 second. So say this is for 115. ठीक है. So now the cost is $400. है ना. थोड़ा सा और चेंजेस करने दो. अगर हम इसको यूं कर दें, अब क्या हो गया? 500 का आपका कॉस्ट हो गया. हाँ, ये सही है. 500 का कॉस्ट हो गया. ठीक है. नाउ आई सेल दिस शर्ट इन द मार्केट फॉर $1,100. Okay, I'm a capitalist, I'll do that. I sell it for $1,100. What is my profit? Wonderful, $600 is my profit. This is my sales price. ठीक है. Now, please appreciate these inputs. Totaling how much? 500 की शर्ट थी ना आपकी? $300. These assorted items or things which were worth $300 were transformed into something having a value of $1,100. Or a customer, the purchaser, saw a value of $1,100 in that product, which really comprises of things only worth $300. Meaning an increase of how much in the value? 300, 1100 minus 300 for God's sake, 800. An increase of $800 was due to what? The application of labor. धन्यवाद भैया. So due to the application of labor, inputs worth 300 got transformed into an end product having a value of 1100. So the value that has been added by labor is how much? $800. समझते ही नहीं हो. 300 रुपए की चीज 1100 रुपए की हो गई. कितनी वैल्यू इजाफा हुआ? 800 रुपए का इजाफा हुआ. राइट? Now, do I give these $800 to the workers? No. I am cleverer than that. So what do? I pay them only $200. And 600 rupees I pocket in the form of profit. That is what profit is. The surplus value of labor appropriated by the capitalist. एक सेंटेंस लिखो, बड़ा जरूरी है मार्क्स को समझने के लिए. According to Marx, capital produces nothing. Capital produces nothing. Labor produces everything. Very good. Labor produces everything. So if something worth 300 has been transformed into something worth 1100, it is due to the application of labor. But the clever capitalist, what is he doing? He is only giving labor a small fraction of what is really his due. And the rest he is pocketing in the form of profit. It is very difficult to digest, particularly if you come from business family backgrounds. Because you're like, यार हमारी भी तो कुछ बनता ही है अगर पैसा लगा के बैठे हैं. Profit, friends, is it legal in a capitalist society? You bet it is. Is it legitimate in a capitalist society? Legitimate matlab, is it considered as just and fair and reasonable? Absolutely. Even the worker thinks कि मालिक को कुछ बच रहा है, नहीं बच रहा, कि सेठ जी ने अगर 1 करोड़ रुपया लगाया है तो कम से कम उसका ब्याज तो निकाल लेंगे और थोड़ा उसके ऊपर से, तभी तो it makes sense. Yes or no? So there is a lot of legitimacy associated to this notion of profit. But profit है क्या? वर्कर का जो ड्यू था, जो मालिक ने उसको नहीं दिया, दैट इज व्हाट इज प्रॉफिट. मार्क्स कहता है प्रॉफिट, लिखो ना, प्रॉफिट इज थेफ्ट. चोरी है. किसने चुराया? कैपिटलिस्ट ने. किससे चुराया? वर्कर से. Profit is theft. And this profit motive is legal and legitimate in a capitalist system. Are you able to now make sense of the sentence that the surplus value of labor is appropriated by the capitalist as profit? What is the value of labor total? In this example, $800, out of which the labor receives 200, and the surplus value or the remaining value of generated by labor was $600, which was not given to him, rather pocketed by the capitalist. ठीक है, ऐसे होते हैं ये कैपिटलिस्ट इंसान. And how is capital formed, by the way? How is capital formed? Due to accumulation of profit. चोरी कर करके जो आपने महल खड़े कर लिए, गड्डियां भर लिए, वही तो पूंजी है. Yes or no? और ये सब किसने किया? वर्कर्स ने. मैंने नहीं तो मेरे बाप दादा ने. आयु नहीं, मतलब मेरे बाप दादा की मेहनत आपके बाप दादा ने दबोच ली, वो प्रॉफिट हो गया, फिर वो आपकी कैपिटल बन गया, ऐसे जोड़ जोड़ के. और फिर आप उस पे पैसा लगाने का खाते हो, हाथ पाओ चलाते नहीं हो. ठीक है, ये है कैपिटलिज्म की कहानी. The last aspect of a capitalist economy is alienation. Last, as in there are many facets to it, the last thing that we discuss, okay, is alienation. What is this concept of alienation? We will discuss after a short break. Not short, a break. Friends, please settle. Can you call somebody from the outside, please? Online friends, please confirm if I am audible and visible clearly by typing yes. एक एक्स्ट्रा पेयर ऑफ सेल्स दे दीजिए मेरे को यहां पे. चलिए, मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट फीचर ऑफ अ कैपिटलिस्ट सोसाइटी, विच इज alienation. This concept of alienation, we'll discuss what it means at some length because it has importance in the UPSC exam. It is one of the 4 topics mentioned under Karl Marx in the syllabus, and frequently full questions have been asked from this particular aspect of alienation. Okay? So it is important exam point of view as well. What do you understand by the term alienation? The root word is alien, right? Forget Marx, forget sociology. What does the word alien mean to you? So in legal parlance, alien is contrasted with, what is the opposite of alien in law? Citizen. हाँ, उसको बोलते हैं citizen. Right? So aliens are contrasted from citizens. Those who are part of this political community and are citizens. Those who are outside of this political community are referred to as aliens. In English, alien word is used in the context of UFOs, etc. What does alien mean there? Those who are not, do not belong to the planet Earth. Right? So the root word is alienus. It's a Latin term, alienus, which means stranger. Stranger. It is one of the features of the alienation is one of the features of the capitalist mode of production, and in the UPSC syllabus it's a distinct topic. The root term alienus means stranger. Alienus, it's a Latin word meaning stranger. Like a foreigner is a stranger, an alien being is a stranger, right? So alienation means what? In very simple language, it means that the worker is dissatisfied from his work. The worker in a capitalist society is dissatisfied from his work. The product of his labor stands before him as if a stranger. I repeat, the product of his labor stands before him as if a stranger, or as if an alien object. In other words, friends, the worker is unable to establish a connection with the product of his own labor. The worker is unable to establish a connection with the product of his own labor. In very layman terms, if I have to explain to you alienation, it simply means that workers do not enjoy their work. Work is dull, boring, monotonous. It's a chore. It's a daily drudgery. इंसान काम करते समय खुश नहीं है. Alienation is a social condition in which the workers are dissatisfied, disconnected, burdened by their work. Alienation is a condition in which the workers feel a sense of estrangement. Estrangement means to become a stranger or to become disconnected from. Are you with me? So the workers feel disconnected from the work that they are doing, the outcome of that labor that they are putting in. In simple words, वर्कर का काम में दिल नहीं लग रहा, वो काम में खुश नहीं है. How many of you have work experience? Raise your hands. Several, right? Have you personally experienced, can you appreciate, connect with this concept of alienation? Have you felt, now please mind you guys, these persons who raise their hands, who are amongst us, clearly they are not, say they are not factory workers, the kinds Marx was writing about. All of these are educated persons, possibly in all likelihood in white collar jobs. Most of them would be engineers and highly paid engineers, or in other such respectable, well-paying professions as accountants or engineers or doctors or blah blah. Quite different in that sense from the workers of Karl Marx. Despite that, have you felt alienation? Can any of you share that sense of alienation that you felt while at work despite being reasonably well paid? Yeah? Any of you? Brother, what were you doing? What was that? Why did you feel this alienation? What were you doing?
I was working at Deloitte.
Deloitte, huh? It's like a multinational behemoth. Huh? And were you well paid in your view? Were you reasonably compensated for your effort? It was a well paying job. But I was not happy at all. Continue.
I often questioned, why. I obviously didn't like what I was doing.
And what were you doing there, if I may ask?
Consulting job.
You were in a consulting position. Consulting is a very well-paying kind of this thing.
But my interest, my inclination did not match at all.
And wasn't money a good enough compensation for the boredom or disconnect you felt at work? Did you feel कि अच्छा पैसा मिल रहा है तो चलो ठीक है? A lot of people do that.
I felt that it's a long life and perhaps right now is a good time when I should settle in a better place in which.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I can find some greater satisfaction. Yes, Betty?
In my job,
Where were you?
sir, I was working in ZS Associates. It's a consulting.
ZS Associates, a consulting firm. She was again in a consulting position. Good pay, good money.
I tried to buy happiness with money.
She tried to buy happiness with money. That's such an honest admission. Yeah. So you went on this shopping spree in the Gurgaon malls, purchasing, huh? On the weekends, menge brands and all of that, huh? Been there, done that, huh? Lacked meaning in life, huh?
I was not satisfied with the work I was doing. I felt very disconnected because I thought I don't know what after that how is it affecting the world. So I thought I cannot do this work for like next.
So whatever am I doing, is it really meaningful? Is it having any impact? Possibly, for if I may speak on their behalf, क्या हम इसीलिए आए कि पैसा कमाएं और मर जाएं? हाँ? Is that really the purpose of life? हाँ? सब निकाल दो अपनी भड़ास, guys. She was happy in her work. हाँ? She's saying Marx was wrong? No, okay. Bangalore, nice weather, nice city. हाँ. Infosys का तो campus is also very awesome. हाँ. Legendary. She was a certified trainer in Infosys. अच्छा, फर्जी accent you have to put on for US clients. हाँ. कुछ टाइम करने में मजा आया, बट देन खोखला सा महसूस होने लगा. हाँ, डू आई से दैट करेक्टली? यस. One second. In case she was really happy, okay, she did add some caveats to that, but in case if she was really happy, does that mean that Marx is wrong? Who is wrong? She is wrong. I will tell you. If you ask Marx, see, alienation is not the subjective disposition of the worker. If you are feeling happy, madam, you are in an illusion. You are living in an illusion. Alienation is an objective condition of capitalist society. So इस बिचारी वर्कर को पता नहीं है कि ये alienated है, थी alienated, ठीक है? Because she, like them, did not have that, connect with the work. It was not impactful. It was not meaningful, ठीक है? So she was possibly under an illusion. Yeah, please. You were also in Infosys with her? Yeah? अच्छा, you were also under an illusion. फिर आंखें कैसे खुली? How was that illusion broken? अच्छा, अभी बोलते बोलते मेरे, ओके, खुल गया. हाँ. सॉरी? दो सिनेमा देखता था, हाँ, and it was a well-paying job. So a lot of people would quit well-paying jobs, well compensated, very well compensated packages running in 5 and 6 figures. Why? Because that innate satisfaction that can potentially come from work, that once many of us seek from work, was missing. Betty?
I joined, basically I completed my engineering, but I shifted my passion, I followed my passion, and I joined a pharmaceutical company, and there I was taking care of the cosmetics department. I was a regional trainer.
ये पैशन फॉलोअर है ना? सो इट्स नॉट जस्ट कि वो जो वर्न आउट पाथ है कि इंजीनियरिंग करी और इंजीनियरिंग जॉब, ठीक है? somebody who's followed her passion, different from her academic background. She joined a pharmacy.
Cosmetic department, so I was taking care of the trading with that product. But so the point is that even following my passion and moving into the MNCs and the whole corporate world,
It's very glitzy. The corporate world is very, very glitzy and seductive, है ना? सब इंग्लिश में बोलते हैं, अच्छी अच्छी महक आती है, एयर कंडीशनड एनवायरमेंट्स होते हैं. हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
or the boys who work, the condition they work in, the condition they stay, plus the work is also very repetitive for me also. Where on every counter they're doing the same thing. Every day I'm doing the same thing. So
But then it becomes monotonous, it becomes repetitive, it becomes like a chore. Huh?
Seniors come up with the pressure which they cannot deal with and they just put it
On the juniors.
you do and you go it and then they don't have any like lock on their
So basically a lot of this corporate world, it's a hierarchy of galis. You know, each level kind of putting pressure on the ones below them.
then they have to speak, they just don't like while paying the money, they'll see who's a male and a female worker, but when they have to abuse, they will not speak.
Huh. So alienation on a lot of counts. Huh? How about the others? Those who do not have work experience. Have we also experienced alienation in life? In the sense, we may not have worked, but our life journey till now has been mostly what? What has been our task? It is padhai, education. Have you felt alienated from the education system? Have you ever felt मैं जो पढ़ रहा हूं मैं ये क्यों पढ़ रहा हूं? कि मैंने ये पीरियोडिक टेबल क्यों रटी? मैंने फोरियर थ्योरम क्यों समझी? कहां जीवन में काम आनी है? जब कैलकुलेटर्स हैं तो मैं क्यों कर रहा हूं? Have you felt that sense of disconnect with the education system? Yes or no? That is what? Alienation. ठीक है? So, Marx has written very extensively on this aspect. How work is a source of immense dissatisfaction in capitalist society. Now, please appreciate, friends, to have a richer understanding of how Marx analyzes this dimension, you have to appreciate his overall understanding of work and human nature. Marx says, and I insist you write, to work, cut do, work is potentially the most satisfying of all human activities. Work is potentially the most satisfying of all human activities. अगर आपको सबसे ज्यादा सुख कहीं मिल सकता है, कैसे? श्रम करके. शर्म नहीं, श्रम. In fact, he says to work it is what defines us as a species. It is what he says is the species essence of man. He of course uses a German term for this, which I don't recall. To work is the species essence of man. Species essence matlab the defining feature of a species. For example, if you have to say what is the species essence of a honeybee, what makes a honeybee a honeybee? To make honey. What is the species essence of a lion? Lion कौन है शेर? हाँ, to roar, to hunt. Are you with me? That is what makes an animal a lion. Likewise, the species essence of human beings is to labor, to work, and to transform nature through his labor. To transform nature through his labor. That is the species essence of man. So what makes a man a man? It is to work. It is what defines us as a species. As a species, हमारी प्रवृत्ति है, हमारी प्रकृति है कि हम श्रम करें. Work, according to Marx, is potentially the most satisfying of all activities. Why? It is through our work that we can express our personality. It is through our work that we can express our creativity. It is through our work that we can give expression to our individuality. So nothing could be possibly more satisfying than work. भूल गया मैं.
Through our work, we express personality and
Our individuality, our creativity. My personality finds expression in my work. Simply, if I, long before the advent of this exploitative system of capitalism, in olden times, if I would work, if I would labor, say I would create a vase, एक घड़ा मैं बनाता हूं. घड़े को क्या बोलते हैं? वाज नहीं होता, earthen pot. Wonderful. By expending my energy through the efforts of my labor. Now that earthen pot, that vase, whatever I create, will bear a distinct imprint of my personality. So it will be different from the earthen pot that you make, or you make, or you make. So that earthen pot will as if speak to you. It is distinctly pranay. A part of pranay has taken the shape of an earthen pot. Are you with me? It is my individuality, my personality, my creativity, which is reflected in the product of my labor. And when I see that beautiful earthen pot, it fills me with a sense of immense pride and satisfaction. Nothing could be more satisfying. कि ये मेरी क्रिएशन है, ये मेरी मेहनत का रंग है या फल है या स्वरूप है. But there's always a but. In capitalist society, am I able to draw that innate satisfaction from working? The answer is no. Work is perverted in capitalism. What can be an immense source of satisfaction becomes क्या? A burden. एक बोझ लगता है काम. Marx writes that when at work, a worker never feels at home. While working, a worker never feels at home. At home मतलब ये नहीं कि घर पे. मतलब he doesn't feel comfortable. He feels at home or he feels comfortable only while not working. ये होता है कैपिटलिज्म में. So work is monotonous. Work is a drudgery. Work is boring. Work is tedious. Work draws out all your energy rather than invigorating you. Yes or no? It enervates you. चूस लेता है आपकी energy. If you've seen a typical person, any of us in the capitalist economy, when we come home from work, we come so tired. थके हारे. Yes or no? Literally कि थका हारा काम से आया है हम बोलते हैं. Why? Because work is a huge burden that we carry on our shoulders. Rather than being a source of satisfaction, it is the biggest source of dissatisfaction, worry, tension, boredom. That is how the nature of work is perverted in a capitalist society. आपने महसूस किया है हम खुश कब होते हैं? When do we feel ourselves While at work, are we ourselves? No. We are somebody else at work. तो जब हम घर आते हैं हम कैसे रिलैक्स करते हैं, पड़ जाते हैं, मैं तो ऐसा हूं, है ना? Why? Because now I am in a state of not working. हम लिटरली चैन की लंबी लंबी सांसें भरते हैं. Yes or no? Because work आपका खून चूस लेता है. वर्क आपकी सारी एनर्जी चूस लेता है. वर्क जो आपको बहुत कंटेंटमेंट दे सकता है, सेटिस्फैक्शन दे सकता है, वो बिगेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ डिसकंटेंटमेंट, बिगेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ डिससैटिस्फैक्शन बन जाता है. ठीक? अब हम क्या फ्रेज यूज करते हैं? वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस. एज ए वर्क एंड लाइफ आर टू सेपरेट थिंग्स. है ना, कि सिर्फ वर्क मत करो, लाइफ भी होनी चाहिए इंसान की. ऑलमोस्ट इक्वेटिंग वर्क विथ नॉन लाइफ और डेथ. दैट इज हाउ वर्क हैज बिकम. दैट इज हाउ ह्यूज अ बर्डन वर्क हैज बीन ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड और परवर्टेड इनटू इन इंडस्ट्रियल कैपिटलिज्म. What is the source of satisfaction while working in its original unperverted form? Work, what was the source of satisfaction? अरे भाई, in its original unperverted form, salary. वही छोटी बात कर दी ना, वर्कर वाली बात. it is innate. The very act of production. Why? Because it is my species' essence to work. Are you with me? But in a capitalist society, what is the drive to work? External rewards. Like higher wages or money or promotion or a recognition. Yes or no? So instead of being intrinsically driven, instead of working for the sake of enjoyment of work, we work for these external rewards. The worker in capitalist society is alienated in 4 ways. There are 4 dimensions to, or 4 aspects of alienation that Marx highlights. सिंपल भाषा में एलिनेशन किसी को हिंदी में बताना हो तो समझाइए. सिंपल भाषा में 5वीं कक्षा के बच्चे को या एक मजदूर को समझाना है हिंदी में, एलिनेशन क्या है? पैसों के लिए काम करना. बेटर देन दैट, हिंदी में थोड़ा समझा दो. बिल्कुल, आपका काम में वर्कर का मन ना लगे, काम एक क्या लगे? बोझ लगे. ठीक है, दैट इज एलिनेशन. नाउ मार्क्स टॉक्स अबाउट alienation in 4 aspects. The worker in capitalist society is alienated first and foremost. अरे 1 sec, ये पूरा ऊपर कैसे जाएगा पता नहीं. बस नहीं. Is alienated from the product of his labor. The worker is alienated from the product of his labor. Why is the worker alienated from the product of his labor? Means what he has created. Now the worker does not feel a sense of connect or attachment to the product of his own labor, the outcome of his own labor. Why? A, because of the nature of ownership in capitalist society. Who owns the product of the labor of the worker? अगर मैं कुछ भी बना रहा हूं, shirts, I am a worker this time, manufacturing shirts. Who owns the shirt? Do I? No. It is owned by the bourgeoisie, the capitalist class. Yes or no? So legally, I have no legal or moral right, even moral right, over the product of my own labor. It is owned by the capitalist. Secondly, the nature of, or the contribution of each worker in the end product is minuscule. It's only a small fraction. Such is the nature of work in capitalism. So say we are manufacturing cars. I'm a worker in Maruti. Am I manufacturing the whole car? No. I am possibly just tightening the screws after screws after screws on the tires of one car after the other. And in the whole process, my life also gets all screwed up. Right? The other guy is only painting and painting and painting. The third guy is putting the bumper, and so on and so forth. Right? In other words, so if I am only tightening the screws, do I have a sense of connect with the end product? No. So there is a complex division of labor. There is specialization, because of which the contribution of each worker to the end product is only a small fraction of it. So the worker does not feel a sense of attachment, a sense of connect, a sense of ownership with the product of his own labor. The product of his own labor stands as if a strange object before him. Yes or no? Excuse me. Secondly, may I? The worker is also alienated from the process of production, from the work process. The worker is also alienated from the process of production. जो काम की प्रक्रिया है उसमें भी मन नहीं लग रहा. क्यों? Firstly, friends, all aspects of the production process are decided by whom? The worker. The capitalist. They are decided upon by the capitalist. So the worker merely follows or does what he is told. Any aspect, all aspects of production. Say in my factory, shirt factory. How many shirts are to be produced? Who decides? Capitalist. What color shirts are to be produced? Who decides? Capitalist. What cloth is to be used? Capitalist. What technique of production is to be used? Capitalist. Each and every aspect, yes or no, is decided upon by the capitalist. Secondly, again, at work, is he engaged in the whole of the production system or the whole of the process? No, he is confined to a small segment of it. मैं पूरी गाड़ी बनाने में तो योगदान नहीं दे रहा हूं, मैं तो केवल पेच कस रहा हूं. Yes or no? So I possibly may not know what is happening down the assembly line. Are you with me? Thirdly, matlab staying with this alienation from the process only, another dimension of it. The production process in industrial capitalism is dominated by क्या workers होते हैं central to the production process? Machinery. These humongous, inanimate, lifeless machines dominate the production process. Yes or no? And the worker is reduced to a mere appendage to the machine. Appendage मतलब add-on, right? ये पता नहीं क्यों आते रहता है. He is like a mere cog in a gigantic machinery, a small part of this humongous production system. तो आपका पूरा दिन कैसे बीत रहा है बिफोर दीज लाइफलेस मशीनरी who overwhelm you, literally. They dominate the production process and you have to fit in. You matlab the worker. So if I am that page cussing guy, the screwer, car thing, car context, so I must, the assembly line is moving on and I must do the thing. Yes or no? I have to tune my bodily movements to the assembly line production. Are you with me? So the worker is also alienated from the process of production. Thirdly, the worker is also alienated from himself. खुदाओं से एलिनेटेड है वो का. वाई? खुद के साथ तो मैं पूरा टाइम रहता हूं, इवन इन अ कैपिटलिस्ट इकोनॉमी, सो आई शुड बी प्रीटी कंफर्टेबल एंड हैप्पी विद माई ओन बीइंग. वाई शुड आई बी डिस्कनेक्टेड फ्रॉम हु आई एम? दैट्स व्हाट मार्क्स इज सजेस्टिंग. प्लीज अप्रिशिएट हाउ डज माई इंडिविजुअलिटी, माई पर्सनैलिटी फाइंड एक्सप्रेशन? इट इज in the product of my labor. When I made that beautiful vase in olden times, I felt an innate, a deep sense of satisfaction. That this is my creation. This is who I am. Literally. But now, since I am unable to find that self-expression in the product of my labor, I also get alienated from my own true self. I am unable to express my individuality, my personality. Are you with me? In a capitalist economy, I'm a part of that car assembly line. Can I see a reflection of my personality in that end product? No. Or if I'm in a ghada manufacturing, vase manufacturing facility, do I see myself, my personality, my individuality being reflected in that vase? No. Arika, I'm possibly just drawing a red line in that vase. Somebody else is giving shape to it, another guy is painting it, another guy is doing something to it in a capitalist economy. Are you with me? Moreover, at work, the worker, does he be his true self? All of you working people with work experience, is what you are at the workplace, is that how you really are? We literally put on a facade, a nice demeanor, a reasonably pleasant kind of a personality, a fake smile. Yes or no? Hello, nice to see you. अंदर से मन कर रहा है जूते मारो. So we get alienated from our true selves while at work. Finally, the worker is also alienated from bilkul, fellow workers, and the wider society. The worker is also alienated from fellow workers and wider society. Why fellow workers? Yeah, I mean, shouldn't there be a sense of bonhomie and brotherhood and bhaichara between workers? Worker, bhai, or not? Why not? We are doing the same thing. We are meeting daily at the workplace. How were your relations at the workplace? Weren't they all lovely? नो, क्या दिक्कत? ट्रांजैक्शनल, हाँ. Competition, of course. So does one worker see the other worker as his brother in arms? No, he sees him as a competitor. So that sense of competition for the limited external rewards divides the working class. Yes or no? Promotion 100 वर्कर्स है, 4 को मिलेगी. किन 4 को? जो बाकियों से आगे निकल पाएंगे. Who can prove themselves to be better than the others. इंसेंटिव है, 4 को मिलेगा. किन 4 को? Who do whatever more than the others. Are you with me? So the capitalist system divides the working class by infusing a sense of competition amongst the workers. Do, say, workers from do skilled workers and semi-skilled workers and unskilled workers see themselves as comrades or brothers in arms? Is there a sense of brotherhood amongst them? क्यों? हाँ. So the semi-skilled worker looks down upon the unskilled worker. What a loser, earning only 8,000 rupees a month. I am earning 10,000 rupees a month. ठीक है? And the skilled worker looks down upon the semi-skilled worker. Ha, what a loser. I am earning 13,000 rupees a month. Are you with me? So the capitalist system creates these artificial distinctions between the members of the working class in order to keep it divided. Yes or no? पूरी कॉर्पोरेट हायरार्की का पर्पस यही होता है. ऊंचे वाले नीचे वालों को गालियां दो ताकि तुम में एक सेंस ऑफ ब्रदरहुड, वननेस ना आ पाए. Thirdly, workers also do not have at least at Marxist times, and you guys will tell me better, is it still at work today? They did not have enough time to form social connections at work. Does it apply today, or are you given ample time to socialize and stuff? अगर नहीं संडे वनडे नहीं, वीकडेज पे अगर आप दूसरे कोलीग के केबिन में चले गए और बातें कर रहे हो, मन हल्का कर रहे हो, क्या बोलेंगे? बहुत गपशप हो रही है. So the corporate, the bosses will have these hawk-like eyes. Yes or no? अब फिर से काम पे लग जाओ, बहुत हो गए गपशप, अब चलो काम पे लग जाओ. Why the wider society? Why should we be kind of disconnected from the wider society? I should be pretty, tight, say with my family members, my relatives, or not? Why is the worker also disconnected from the wider society? Now please appreciate, even in the wider society, in a capitalist economy, all social relationships are transactional, utilitarian, utility based. Say you are a worker, I am a fellow worker, we are neighbors. What is the principal medium of exchange in a capitalist economy? मेरे घर में दूध खत्म हो गया, and I come to you that दूध चाहिए, मुन्ना को पीना है, ठीक है? Will you give me milk? No, you won't. What will you tell me? मार्केट से ले लो, दुकान खुल गई है. मार्केट इज द प्रिंसिपल मैकेनिज्म, इन अ मैनर ऑफ स्पीकिंग. शायद दे भी दोगे थोड़ा बहुत एक आध बार, हाँ? So all needs of all members of the society have to be satisfied through the market mechanism. जो भी आपकी जरूरत है मार्केट से जाओ और खरीद लो. मेरे घर पे क्यों डाका डाल रहे हो? Moreover, the workers also develop this mercenary attitude in a capitalist economy. आपको क्या लगता है? Only the capitalist is seeking profit? Does the worker not seek to accumulate at whatever his petty level of existence? You bet he does. For example, friends, say my wife tells me that you're a teacher, so you should teach your children, own children. I have like 2 daughters, one is 5 years old, one is 11 years old. My wife tells me, तुम टीचर हो, पढ़ाते हो, इनको भी पढ़ा दो. मैं पढ़ाता हूं क्या उनको? नहीं पढ़ाता. क्यों? They don't pay me 49,000 rupees per optional. So there is a monetary value attached to my knowledge, my time, which my children do not fulfill. तो उनको कौन पढ़ाता है? एक बाहर से टीचर आती है जो कम खर्चा होता है. We've kept a tuition teacher for my daughters and she teaches. So in the process, the close bond I could have affirmed with my daughters, that father-daughter bond, have I done that? No. क्यों? आप सब जानते हो. Yes or no? So our social relationships cannot bloom in this capitalist society. In those olden days, say when I created that beautiful vase or earthen pot, and you came to me, said, wow, Pranay, what a beautiful earthen pot. What will I do? Absolutely, I'll say, take it, beta. Here, for you. Yes or no? Let it quench your thirst. And that will give satisfaction and happiness to me also. Are you with me? Then she makes a beautiful painting. And I appreciate it. What a beautiful use of colors and landscaping, etc. What will she do? She will give it to me. That let it adorn the walls of your drawing room. Are you with me? And whenever she visits, she'll feel that immense set of satisfaction. And in this whole process, we have affirmed our human bonds as fellow members of the community. But in industrial capitalism, if you come to me, कि सर क्या सोशियोलॉजी पढ़ाते हो? Will I? Absolutely not. Are you with me? Why? Because that is how the whole human nature has got transformed. So these bonds which we could affirm with the fellow members of the community, we are unable to. इसलिए we are also alienated from the wider society. Clear? तो मार्क्स के हिसाब से वर्कर्स के लिए कैपिटलिज्म बहुत ही खून चूसू है, लिटरली. ठीक है? He in fact says these capitalists are vampires. ठीक है? They literally suck the blood of the working class. The working class are an unhappy, emasculated lot in industrial capitalism. And that is his concept of alienation. One quick last kind of thought I want to leave you with, or a question. What do you think? Is the bourgeois also alienated in capitalist society? क्या उद्योगपति, पूंजीपति, क्या वो भी उसी खस्ता हालत से ग्रस्त है? वो भी वही दुख झेल रहा है जो एक emasculated वर्कर झेल रहा है. Why? मेरे पास तो सब कुछ है, पैसा, शान, शौकत एंड whatever the works. क्या दिक्कत है? Any members of the capitalist class in the house? Yeah? Tell me, like, have you or do you think that the bourgeois or the capitalists are alienated, and why or why not? Sorry? हमारे घर पे क्या है? बिजनेस है. हाँ, किस चीज का बिजनेस है? गैस एजेंसी है. अच्छा पैसा है उसमें. हाँ, good money, very good money. हाँ, there's you have a near monopoly. It's only these public sector undertakings. हाँ, पेट्रोलियम क्या? पेट्रोल पंप्स. ओके, मोर मनी. या, होटल्स भी हैं. एंड द वर्क्स, यू गेट द, इट्स लाइक अ कंग्लोमरेट. हाँ, तो फिर क्या दुख की बात है? क्यों संतुष्ट नहीं हो? समझो गाइस, समझो. हाँ, हाँ, absolutely. And you know, he speaks for a lot of us from business family backgrounds. Lot of students, he had the, he could muster this thing to speak up. But I'm sure there are many students from business family backgrounds who are here precisely for this reason. कि मैं इसीलिए पैदा हुआ हूं, सिर्फ नोट गिनने के लिए. Is that what life is all about? Are you with me? Please appreciate, even for the members of the bourgeoisie class, capitalism, the way it is structured, can be very alienating. This relentless and mindless pursuit of money or profit is a source of dissatisfaction for many a bourgeois. Are you with me? Money making seems very cold and calculating and impersonal. Not satisfactory enough. Sorry? Too easy, a job for many. No challenge. Absolutely. और बताइए, और कोई रिच कैपिटलिस्ट लोग? कोई हाथ नहीं काटेंगे आपके, बता दो. हाँ, वी आर डिस्कसिंग मार्क्स बट नहीं काटेंगे. हाँ, एक्सेस डिपेंडेंस ऑन वर्कफोर्स. तो आपको वो माथा पच्ची लगती है, टू डील विद दीज मेनेस वर्कर्स. अच्छा नहीं लगता है ऐसे ऐसे मजदूरों टाइप लोगों से डील करना. फिर so these workers are a bloody unreliable lot. ठीक है, but we get the picture. और बताइए ब्रदर, अभी तो आप वर्किंग क्लास थे थोड़े दूसरे अवतार में. ठीक है. हाँ, a manufacturing unit, as capitalist as they come. हाँ, किस चीज का? Boxes to Indian defense, like coffins, ammunition boxes. Acha, that sounds a very niche kind of this thing, a very difficult to enter kind of a market. Good money, yeah, decent money, but सुन तो लो. हाँ, are you speaking for yourself?
I was not in the business, so I can't really do.
Okay, but other members of your family. I'm not talking about the workers. We are talking about the bourgeois, the capitalist class.
No, not really. I'm not speaking for anyone. It's just a hypothetical. He's saying that maybe the capitalists may be there for the sake of money and not.
Absolutely. And does capitalists enjoy freedom in taking decisions? No. For God's sake. He is constrained by the market forces of demand and supply. मेरे को लाल शर्ट पसंद है, बट मैं क्या बनाऊंगा? व्हाइट शर्ट. क्यों? व्हाइट शर्ट बिकती है. आर यू विद मी? मुझे फिलॉसफी एज ए सब्जेक्ट बहुत पसंद है, बट क्या मैं पढ़ाऊंगा? नहीं. या नहीं, दैट वाज ओनली जस्ट टू मेक अ पॉइंट. हाँ.
So, the problem is that every morning there is a rush in the mind, like, आज पैसा कैसे आएगा? Every time there is something going on in your head. There is no sense of satisfaction. Plus, what you know your work worth, you will not get that from the market. So, sir, जितना है उतना कम है.
So it's a continuous fight. You're literally racing against time and the market forces, competitors. उनको सेट है, उनको मिल जाएगा 30,000 रुपया, 50,000 रुपया आना है. ब्रदर, यस. हाँ बिल्कुल. सो बिजनेसमैन इज नेवर ऑन अ हॉलिडे. ठीक है, आप वर्कर लोग तो फिर भी 2 दिन ऐश करते हो, बट मालिक, उसकी बुद्धि पूरे टाइम इज वर्किंग ओवर टाइम. ठीक है, तो डोंट वरी वर्कर्स. Even the capitalists are a dissatisfied lot. Such is the nature of this system of industrial capitalism. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.